Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Personal Mastery Training, the Alliance. The Alliance. Me and my fellows are here, and we're about to talk about. We have one missing, but the three of us got Dr. Charlie and got Raymond. And today we're going to talk about an interesting conversation. As we always say, we always refer to we're delivering soul food. We're like Uber Eats. We're delivering soul food. And one of us brings the main meal and we cook it up for you. By the end, we hope we nourish you. We will fulfill your soul on a soul level. So, today I want to talk about something I think, very important. And as you get older, it becomes even more important. Is this idea of raising your standards and keeping it at that higher level and not sleeping on the important things like your health and your wellness and your fitness and it can be just take a look, go to the beach and take a look, go to anywhere and take a look at how we often let our standards drop and not. I've been in the health and wellness arena serving my clients, thousands of clients over the decades since I was a personal trainer, and then I went from a trainer to osteopath and massage. I've studied so many things and I've treated so many thousands of clients over the years. So I've had a chance to see them transition from a young person to retired and loss in their life of their partners. I've seen, I've been lucky enough, blessed enough to see it all. And I see how we tend to let things slide. We tend to, in the middle part of our lives, after maybe having kids and you found your partner, and we kind of let that part slide. And it's insidious. We wake up one day and wow, we're not the same. And another thing that I've been experiencing is we tend to also sugarcoat and soften our slide. Meaning, oh, if I wear this baggier clothes, buy a bigger shirt, turn a certain way, it's okay. I can live with that. It's my age too, whatever, right? We kind of let everything slide. And then one day you start to realize health is wealth and I need to keep my standards high. So, anyways, I'm going to let Dr. Charlie actually take the lead on this one after I set that up. So, Dr. Charlie, this was your inspiration. So, let us know what's up.
Yeah, this is, as you said earlier, such an important topic because our health is our wealth. And if you don't believe that, you'll find out very quickly if your health declines how important it is and how much you've taken it for granted. So for me, recently, I had a bout with my low back. Um, and it's an old football injury decades ago that would kind of flare up every 2 to 3 years. Now, with my chiropractor, we look back at the records, and it has been uh, 6 years since the last time it flared up. So expanding that's good, but it still flared up due to my lack of maintenance. Right, I wasn't keeping my schedule with visiting the chiropractor, wasn't keeping my schedule with stretching. Those things, my hydration wasn't right, leading to these low back issues in my lumbar spine. And that's one thing, the stiffness, the pain. However, at the same time, I had, an attack of diverticulitis. Never had that before. And so I had about a month bout with between the low back issue, diverticulitis, and between those two, low energy levels, very uncomfortable. And then because of low energy levels and the discomfort, my activity level down, 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 down. So I'm like, I don't ever want this to happen again, and I've got to make these changes to my diet, to my daily routines, to my weekly routines, my monthly routines. But I realized that it's so easy to let this happen gradually over time. Now, because people will chalk it up to, oh, I'm just getting old, and then they have this decline over years. But for me, I realized, yes, I am getting older. However, it's not about age, it's about maintenance and the things I'm doing or not doing to maintain my health at a high level. So making the dietary changes that I needed to, making the sleep changes I needed to, you know, have really done a lot of good. However, it really was a wake up call to me that this is what happens to people, that they get busy, they get stressed out, and then you can justify not going to the gym. You can justify eating a fast food meal. You can justify not taking your supplements. You can justify not walking. And that adds up over time. And over time, the outcome's not going to be good if you don't do the things you need to do to maintain your standard. So, what is your standard? We got to have a standard, right, in the first place. And I think for me, I was an athlete in college. I was a student athlete in college, and so, from a physical fitness standpoint, very high standard. And that standard that I maintain on a fitness level has translated over into other areas of my life. However, letting that physical standard go down has also affected other areas of my life in a negative way. So just getting my standards back and saying, hey, I'm not going to accept not exercising, on a daily basis. I'm not going to accept taking a shortcut and eating a fast food meal, right? I'm not going to accept not getting enough rest. I'm not going to accept not stretching, right? And that level of acceptance is key and crucial to our well being and our long term health. What is your level of acceptance? And as Alvin stated earlier, looking around, you can see people's standards just by looking at how they appear and how they're doing their business. And again, people have health challenges and not saying anything disparaging there. However, for the majority, there's options. And are we choosing healthy options, options that are sustainable and are going to help us over the long run, or are we taking shortcuts and skipping things that are for our long-term health that are eventually gonna catch up to us? And when they catch up to us and we haven't been doing the things that we need to because we've chosen not to, then all of a sudden we're forced to deal with health issues that arrive because we didn't have the standard necessary to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
I'm just getting done right now with 2 weeks of vacation. Okay, so last day going back to work tomorrow, and uh, as I spent some time this Friday just auditing my energy and my past 2 weeks, I realized something. Okay, is that I had the I had the wrong approach leading into the vacation, and I'll explain it to you guys. My mindset was okay, first week is all about the kids, like I'm giving it for the kids. My oldest is going to be done with school. I'm going to take them out. We're going to do all kinds of things. So I'll be drained, I'll be tired. And then the week after that, it's going to be for me. Okay. Then I read this quote on Friday, okay, by a former teammate who also has kids. And he says, you can make your kids your excuse. I make them my reasons. Okay. I make them my reasons. And you see, there's a different perspective in there because the best moments I had on vacation, guys, it was never a moment where I was sitting at home watching a movie, not really moving around. There were moments where I got up, I brought people outside, or I followed my wife outside and we did biking, or we went to the gym, or we were moving around. And that those moments, they give you energy, they make life more beautiful, but they also do something very special. And I wrote it down, is that you take advantage of the blessing you have to actually be healthy and be able to do these things. Okay. Because as we know, we all have many problems until health becomes one. And then we only have one problem. But when we do have our health, or when we do have the capacity to take care of our health, to do those little things, and we don't do them, we don't take advantage of the blessing that we have. Okay. And that's really what it's all about in the end. That's the lesson I got from these 2 past weeks. I'm like, hey, I shouldn't be thinking about, hey, I'll just sacrifice everything, just do it for the kid. No, make it worthwhile also for you, because you get, I think it's you, Charlie, that often says that, but you get to do something. Okay. You don't just do it, you get to do it. And that's a very, very, very uh, different shift in mindset that I found I learned in the past 2 weeks. And then I'll make sure I'll remember. Okay. Because I see it. We're at different ages, let's say, okay? But I see it too, where a lot of people around me, just to give another example, it's pretty funny, but I was at a barbecue yesterday, and I brought some soccer balls because I know my son, all he's gonna want to do is play soccer, the whole day. And it's so funny, not to drift from the conversation, but there were some little boys and little girls, and the little boys were just playing soccer the whole time, not saying a word, not saying a word, but playing for hours. The little girls were like talking and asking us questions, and it's just so funny, the different perspective. But whatever. 2 times my son just kicked the ball over to the neighbor's yard. And then my friend that hosted the barbecue is a former top pick in the CFL. He's a Hall of Famer in NCAA. At some point, he even led the nation in sacks. Okay, so he used to be an amazing athlete, and we were just joking around asking him to climb the fence, but there's no way he could climb the fence now. And I say that lovingly and respectfully, okay? Because as good friends, it's important to push each other. This used to be an elite athlete, same age as me, okay? Same age as me. And then when we're talking together, people telling about, how much my knee hurts and my back hurts and this hurt. And then I realized, hey, I'm lucky enough that I don't have nothing hurting, but I need to take advantage of this blessing. I don't take advantage of it enough. And it is truly a blessing. Okay, truly a blessing. So yeah, that's just the shift in perspective I wanted to bring to the table, guys. And okay, instead of worrying and thinking about what you should do, how about you take full advantage of what you do have right now? Okay, of what you do have, in order to keep it, to make it last, because it is uh something that's so important that we have. Okay, that we have, and when we do lose it, we regret it. We regret it. So let's take advantage of it. And with this, I'll pass the mic.
Here's the deal. So Dr. Charlie talked about this idea of the flare up that he's having now, and it's so well. It's not too ironic from my point of view that lower back and the gastrointestinal, they're very much a physical connection and a nervous system connection to that. So that's not a stretch. Uh, but then he talked about the lowered energy levels, which is it's amazing how we take that for granted too, because when you are used to a certain level of health and it's compromised, let's put it that way, it's not taken away, but it's compromised, you start to respect all of what comes to you getting up and attacking your day and attacking your task list, and also to, be motivated to go get this thing. You realize how much energy it really takes to attack life, especially at the level most high achievers are at. They have this goal, and they get up every morning, hit that ground running, and they want to attack this list. And even a headache, a pain, a distraction really can take away from the energy we need to stay at that level. We start to respect how fine that level is, to get up and just set your sights on this goal and to achieve it. So that's when we start to really respect. And sometimes I used to wonder, when people don't take care of themselves for forever. Some people just, this whole health thing is like, oh, it baffles me how they can completely just throw it to the side, and it's go to the gym, nothing. That This stuff is just foreign to them. That's because sometimes we can get used to feeling like crap. We can get used to getting up and it aches. And then typically you hang around with people who do the same. You never see a super healthy person hanging out with a person who's, not healthy. It's They kind of don't gravitate together typically. So we're gonna hang out with people like ourselves and start commiserating about my back pain, my knee pain, my this pain. So we have to be careful of who we're hanging out with. The classic quote, right? You're the sum total of the people you hang out with. So that's one thing. And it's especially worse when you enjoy great health, right? And the typical saying is, what gets measured typically improves. If you're not see it daily, I'll tell you, daily I measure my health in different ways. And now, even better, I have a watch now that I've been incorporating. I've been bringing in the different tools. Typically, I'm a feeling guy, and I keep my eye on my vitals, the vital stuff, the blood pressures, and so on, and my checkups. But now I've been incorporating the tools into my sleep patterns and my, bring really refining the health, because I look at it this way. In America, they call it the 401k. In Canada, it's the RSP. Same thing, right? Savings for your retirement. If you go to a financial advisor or a banker, they'll tell you dollar cost averaging. Okay, over time, if you invest very little, since you're the classic, since if you're 20 years old and if you invest $100, you could be a millionaire by the time you're 30. Because of compounding. They say the earlier you start and the more you contribute on a regular basis, the easier it is for you to retire and have the money. The later you start, it's very difficult, because where you going to find, first of all, you miss compounding. So that's off the table if you wait too long. Second of all, where are you going to find thousands of dollars to invest every month to catch up? It's a little harder. But if you're young and you start investing, I started investing in my health in my teenager, when I started boxing, when I started doing dance, and I've loved my physical fitness. I'm in love with my physical fitness. I'm in love with getting up and running and being free. That's part of my values, is my freedom. And freedom comes from my health freedom. So that's a value to me, fitness freedom. So I've been investing dollar cost averaging for 40 years plus 45 years. I've been dollar cost averaging. So now I'm at 57, and the investment I have to make, which I'm currently right now in a challenge, a fitness challenge that I'm challenging myself and friends and family to come along with me on this journey I want to make. And it's not going to be that hard, because I'm not coming from lying on a couch, 100 pounds overweight. I'm gonna make tweaks because I've already made my investments. I'm just gonna really refine now and top up my savings, basically, if we continue that metaphor. So it's a lot harder to save money. We go back to the metaphor of money when you have spent it, wasted it, bought frivolous things over the last 40 years, and now you want, oops, I'm going to retire and I haven't got the savings I need. Same metaphor, just extrapolate that into our health. So Our standards. What are we measuring to find out? Then we go back to your values. What are your values? Let's start there. If you find fitness hard, some people find it very difficult to even get this going. What are your values then? Bring your values in. Is it family? Well, to be fit means you be here for your family. I love Jim Rohn's quote when he said, I'm staying healthy not for me, but for you, my partner. That's why I'm staying healthy. Not for me, not for the ego, but for you. And I think you also, my partner, should stay healthy for me. So we can enjoy this vision we have of if we're blessed to get to. I've seen over, like I said, my blessing is that I've spent 3 decades or more working with people. And I've seen people get to that age of retirement with their partner, and either one or the other is missing a partner, first of all, from some health issue, or they're taking care of the partner because their health failed. And now those years they were planning for is now invested in carrying them to appointments, maybe pushing them in a chair, maybe feeding them, whatever it might be. Again, there's no guarantee, but what my other mentor said, Dr. Tom Hill, putting the odds in your favor. And this is something I've often said too. When I'm talking to a partner whose partner had a something health thing, uh, I always see bitterness in them if the partner didn't do what they did to take care of themselves. Here's one thing that I know: if something ever happened to me that, God forbid, left me compromise my health, I know my wife would invest the time. I know it for sure. Not only her loving me, I know she would, because she knows I did the best I could, and it was just not in my favor to have this happen to me. However, if something happened to me, and I now became, and I've seen this, I say I was callous with my health. I didn't really care. I didn't do anything. Sat on the couch, smoked, drank, and something happened. That's when I see partners having resentment, because now I have to take care of your ass because you didn't have enough to invest in your health. So now I'm going to spend the rest of my, because of obligation, and I love you, but obligation, I'm going to spend the next 10 years, and I've seen this, the next 10 years or more, now limited because I can't travel, I can't do stuff, to now take care of you. So take care of you for your partner so you can live out that dream of retirement and travel and all those beautiful things that we can do. So that's one. Pain versus pleasure, I want to touch on that. A lot of times people don't want to make that change because the change, the comfort zone, they're living in that comfort zone. It's very comfortable to get home and just lay on the couch and watch some series and chill and eat whatever you want, no restrictions. That's beautiful. However, um, Jim Rohn, again, love that man. He said, "You're either gonna pay the weight. Uh, Discipline weighs ounces, and regret weighs tons. Discipline weighs ounces, and regret weighs tons." Yes, it sucks to not have the pizza, the beer, and the this. Yes, I would love to be putting that down. However, I don't want to carry the weight, the tons of regret when I can't do it. So a little bit of discipline, it weighs ounces. Uh, as we get older, I'm okay with getting older. I know I can't lift and, as you said, Ray, climb that fence or do whatever it is. If and it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna do what I can at that time and be happy with that, because it is what it is. I'm just gonna adapt my fitness level based on what the physical body will give me. But I know if I'm investing, it's gonna give me more than the average. Again, so I love what Ray said. Charlie talked about acceptance. What are you accepting? What levels are you? And your acceptance level, by the way, is again related to the people you're hanging out with. If you're playing golf with Tiger Woods, as they say, you're going to step up your game. and level up. You may not be able to golf as him, but you're gonna step up your game. But if you're hanging out with some scratch golfers, that's what you're gonna play at. So who are you hanging out with? Who are you accepting as your level, your standards? And it goes in finances, goes in everything, man. You're a sum total. So what's your acceptance level? And then Ray talked about take full advantage. My client actually said this to me yesterday. I was wondering I was going to use that, and he gave me a little nugget. He's an Indian man, and I've been seeing him for decades, and we always have these deep conversations. And he was saying, he told his wife. His wife said, "Why are you going to buy this or do that or make this decision?" He says, "Because I can right now, and someday, why are you going to go on this vacation or do whatever?" He said, someday I won't be able to, I won't have the desire to go on this vacation. So I'm going to go on this vacation. Someday I won't be able to do this. So I'm going to do it right I can. So what are you capable of right now? What do you take full advantage? If you have health, if you have youth, take full advantage. If you have health, take full advantage. Because one day I'm okay with it too. I know one day I may not be able to do this thing. My body won't be able to respond. Right now, I'm going to tell you, I'm doing a challenge, as I said. And I've set my goal with this person who's 10 years younger than I am, and that's what he does is fitness. And he's also, does some enhancements. But I've set my standards at him because I don't know if I'll get there, but it's a great standard. It's a shooting for the moon. If I miss, I'm gonna end up with the stars, and that's okay. So where are your standards? What are you accepting? So, anyways, there's so much here. I could go on and on. This is an area that I've been focused on for, as I said, since I was 15 years old or more. And yeah, since I started high school, really. So this has been a love of mine, a passion of mine. So, anyway, it's a great topic. I'm going to pass the mic so someone else can get a little word in here.
Yeah, I think one of the keys to all of this as well is, you know, taking small steps, right? And when you've taken enough small steps, they add up to quite a distance. And making enough subtle changes will change the trajectory of your health outcomes. I was in town last week. I was in South Carolina, business, and I went through the Atlanta airport, which is the busiest airport in the world. And I had some time between flights. And so, you know how they have those automated sidewalks where, you can stand, the sidewalks moving walkway, right? I bypassed all of those and walked it off because that's an opportunity. That's another small change. Now there's times where I take those because I need to catch a flight and I'm trying to walk as fast as humanly possible. That's a rare occasion. Typically, avoid those walkways. I'll walk. And it's amazing about in the States here, I would say that it's about 50-50. About 50% of people will take that moving walkway, and about 50% of people will walk the longer distance. But just doing things like that, taking the stairs instead of an elevator or an escalator, replacing those sugar laden snacks or candy bars with fruit, and figuring out which fruit you like and mixing it up. And it's a nice subtle transition, but it shows up in your waistline, it shows up in your energy levels, it shows up in your health levels. And so just making small changes, you don't have to get crazy or drastic. You can build up to some of those things if you have some higher goals, but just making small changes like that make a big difference. Having cutoff times when you eat, right? Cutoff times on your meals, so you're not eating too close to bedtime, giving your body time to burn those calories off. Upping your water intake. These are small changes that you can make, but they have significant health outcomes in a positive direction. With that, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, I think it was you, Alvin, that touched on it. It's very, very hard to start something new from scratch. Okay, if you haven't done it for a very long time, because you have to rewire your brain completely, your patterns. But really, it's about taking one step forward, kind of like kind of like Charlie said. Okay, so that's really the toughest part at first. If you're someone who's thinking about that, your tribe is so important. Okay, because we are in our head and we do want to make things happen, but believe in that also, where the more you surround yourself with people who do certain things, you increase your chances of doing those things also, because you're just around it. If you don't have a tribe, something we tend to forget is that we also can create our tribe. If I want to work out more, okay, how about I talk to certain people who want to work out more too, and we just kind of do it together that way, right? Because that tribe is so important. And it's true. If we're surrounded by people who are couch potatoes, most likely will be couch potatoes. Okay, so the heavy lifting at first, just taking the first step. But if we do that consistently over time, ultimately it becomes second nature. It becomes what we do. That's why I'm excited to actually be on the challenge with Alvin also, because right now I work out enough, you know, but I know I want to do more. Okay, I want to do more. And the reason why I joined the challenge, one, is support a great cause, but two, is simply to have people hold me accountable to my standard and remind me my standards. So Tribe does that. Tribe does that for me. And a lot of times it's just having the humility, and also just to make sure that we do find that tribe or create it on our own, because that's another conversation I had with a lot of friends at the barbecue yesterday, is that one thing that a lot of us miss today is tribe. Is tribe. Um, Most people, they wake up, they go through life, they work, they see a bunch of people, but they're not really that connected to many people. Okay, when it comes to things that matter to feed their soul, we're in this connected world, but many people are alone. Okay? Many people are alone, and I don't believe that we're meant to go through this life alone. Okay, we do need to take responsibility for our lives, but tribe is so important, in everything that we do, and let's just not forget that in the end. Okay, I think we rise up together. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
So true, so true, so true. So many great points here. I am going to go with yeah, Dr. Charlie pointed out compound effect. Small little actions taken consistently. Again, they don't have to be sexy, don't have to be running up. How they say you start a marathon, how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. I mean, and eventually what happens when you're consistent is you start to build momentum. And then next thing you know, you're heavy weights that you weren't before when you just started with the bar. I love anyone who knows me knows that that's my secret weapon, man. Whatever it is you're good at, I know is I got to keep showing up. And eventually I'm going to get close to you. With my competitive mind, I want to beat you too, by the way, but at least I'm going to get close to you because I just love consistency. Anything that looks difficult, all I know is I just got to keep showing up every day and put my attention on it. And I'm going to catch you. I'm going to catch me. I'm going to surpass my goals. I'm going to keep leveling up because it's one next step leads to the next. So, yeah, small, consistent actions. So, if you're out there right now sitting on that couch, change something tomorrow, one thing, and just build a momentum. And Dr. Charlie kind of mentioned this. He said, have some structure to the change you want to make. So, whether it be you start, and structure meaning, whether it be you start to carry on some water with you, document how many lifts you're doing, how many steps you're doing, start to, put some numbers around it, monitor it, measure it, you know, because again, what gets measured will typically improve. So yesterday I did 10 push-ups. Well, when I go back and check a month from now, man, I'm doing 25. And that gives you motivation when you're measuring and tracking. So put some structure around change so that we can lean on that. Create your tribes. I love that idea when Ray said that. Ray said, create your tribes. What is it that you want to get better at? Finance? Who you hanging out with? You hanging out with broke people? It's impossible to build your finance when you hang out with broke people. Start hanging out with people who are making. I love Tony Robbins. I heard a story from him. He said, Mark Victor Hansen. Someone was interviewing Mark Victor Hansen, I think. And he wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, if you don't know who that is. But he said to Mark was asking Tony in a group, they're circling, he said, Tony, how are you doing so well? We've got the biggest selling book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and we're this, that, and he's talking about all these things he's doing, and we're not at your level, like financial wise. He goes, who are you hanging out with? He says, yeah, we're hanging out with millionaires. We're doing our thing. He goes, that's the problem. He goes, what? He goes, yeah, the problem is you're hanging out with millionaires. I hang out with billionaires. So you see, when you're hanging out with the people, they talk billionaire ideas. Well, millionaires, nothing wrong with it, but they're talking millionaire ideas. If someone makes 50, 60,000, 100,000, they're talking those kind of, or they're talking about people, maybe something like that. Right? So again, what are the ideas you're talking about? If you're talking about people that are, oh, my kids, men who put on a ton of weight because they say, oh, I had kids. Well, you didn't have the kids. Your wife had the kid. She can use that excuse, but you can't use that excuse. So who are you hanging out with? Who's going to hold you accountable? I love what Ray said. Go somewhere where someone's going to hold you accountable, because some of the pitfalls can be, if you're an expert in your field, your ego can tell you you know everything. Oh, no one can tell me, I'm the coach. But are you getting coached? Typically, a lot of coaches don't get coached. I know when it comes to personal development, a lot of people don't have coaches, but they're dishing out info. But I have a coach. I've had a coach for 25 years or more, give or take. When I figured out that coaches are important, I kept one. I always have one in my back pocket, or two or three, actually. So, because there's areas I don't know about different, and I'm fully aware of that. So, what area, I love this idea of tribes. What area do you need to improve in? Then start to build different tribes that influence you in the different areas. So that's key. That's amazing. Ask for help. Ask for help. Again, it's the same thing. A lot of people don't want to ask for help to get something done, especially if you're an expert. The worst people are experts. They have a big ego. I don't want to ask for help because I'm a doctor. I'm a this, I'm a that. I should know. I should know. I'm a nutritionist. I hired so many nutritionists over the years, and they're secretly eating. No one's looking. They're eating whatever they're eating because no one's holding them accountable, and then they feel guilty about it because they should be an example. No, go get some. You're human first. You're first human. Get some example, right? I like you take Ray. Ray's probably 20 years younger. I have a lot of tribe that hang out that are 20 years younger than me. Why? Because they're got energy. They're going, and I'm keeping ahead of them and up to them. I work out every day, pretty much 5 days a week, with my assistant. She's 28, and her boyfriend comes along, and he's 29, somewhere around there. And they come with me, and they hold me accountable. When they show up. So my daughter, 27, she's competing, so she's holding me accountable. My wife, so again, hang out with people who keep you accountable, who tell you your breath stinks. You're in the party, you're all up in people's face. Hey. People are walking away. No one's telling you because you want those people to say, hey, dude, grab a mint, man, grab a mint. You need it. So, anyways, great conversation. Health is wealth. I can't say anything more. Steve Jobs' billion-dollar company, when he passed, rocketing up. Everyone thought when he left the head of Apple, it would fail. It's now $1 trillion company. What I'm saying is, If you're telling me, oh, I'm busy at work, because I've coached people who are too busy. Too busy for what? Let's not get it twisted here. Remember, Apple went from 1 billion to 1 trillion without the leader. So is it really? Health is wealth. And put the odds in your favor. We might be saying all of this, and the guy who smokes 4 packs a day survives longer. That's okay. I don't want to take that chance. It's okay. Good for him, good for her, good for them. But the lack of dis-ease is not the sign of health, by the way. The lack of disease is not the sign of health. Because that person that you're saying, oh, well, look at them there, they may not know what feeling good is like. For them, flopping home, because one thing you can't tell me is that living a unhealthy lifestyle, you're going to have energy of a person who is living a healthy lifestyle. That you can't tell me. You can't argue with me on that one. So, anyways, that's I'm off the it's a passionate topic for me, as you can tell. So with that, I'll pass the mic for the last words here as we go around. If you have any other input, fellas, let me know.
Well, my word for the week is going to be commitment, right? And that's one of your 4 C's, Alvin.
Yes, sir.
But I'm going to define it, right? Just so the listeners are clear what I mean when I'm talking about commitment. And this isn't my definition. I came across this wisdom from Chris, former NFL player. He said this: the big goals in life are not easy. Finding strength and commitment sounds like a healthy, indisputable proposition. But commitment, arguably the most important of all attributes that contribute to success and fulfillment, is often the most misrepresented and misunderstood. We're quick to recognize talent and intellect, desire and dedication, and the bonus of tenacious confidence. They are all promising core ingredients. They vary by degrees within every individual, every business organization. But we are fairly sure of the recipe, hopefully all topped off with a measure of good fortune. So what then is commitment? And no, it is not the same thing as dedication. Commitment is unlike any other attribute because it defies measurement. It is not portioned or accredited by degrees. It is not even an ingredient in the recipe, but the flame beneath the pot. Commitment is a moment that confirms an all-in proposition to a purpose. It is a choice, a firm and lasting resolve founded on personal or shared values that are steadfast, beyond reproach, including circumstances that may defy hope and expectation. Life can shake confidence. It will find ways to disrupt dedication and desire. Commitment is the keystone of endurance and conviction. It is the one essential attribute that guards all others and through crisis strengthens character, ability, and potential.
Nice. That is beautiful. That's your one word with some meat between.
Chris Spillman, you said, huh? Right, correct. Chris Spillman. Okay. That's good. I have 3 words today. 3 words. And they are: find your tribe. Even if it's a tribe of one, even if you can't find a reason to take care of you for you, hey, make your tribe your reason. Okay? Go find the inspiration somewhere. Go find the love. Go find the push you need. Go surround yourself so that you can really take care of you and level up. Find your tribe. We're meant to be together.
Love it. Love it. As you said that, Ray, I remember one thing I didn't mention that you said before I say my one word is make your kids not your excuses, but your reason. I love that. I'm going to repeat that again for those who are listening, who have kids. Stop making your kids your excuses to not get going. If they're good ones, they're a good excuse. They're a good leverage for that. Make them your reason to get going. Love that. So my word then, my one word that I can elaborate on it is investment. So as we talked about the challenge, I started to really look at and for me, it's good enough health, right? For my age, but I need to invest a bit more, top up my savings a little bit more. I notice now that I'm doing this challenge and my butt's going to be on stage in November. And I don't want, oh, that's nice. He's 57. That's nice. Just give him an applause for even getting up there, the poor guy. No, I'm not that guy. So I'm going to make a bigger investment in my health in order to, yeah, because the thing about my challenge that I'm doing is you can't lie. It shows up. I can't turn you are exposed for the work that you're doing. And that's what I love about it. There's no place to hide. So my word is investment. Put a little pressure on yourself if that's what it takes to raise your investment in your outcome. So love it. All right, guys, great topic. Thanks for bringing that meal there, Dr. Charlie. It it created a lot of conversation. I hope it created value for our listeners too. Inspiration, value, so on and so on, to make that impact, make that change that they need to make. So, with that, as we always say, peace. We wish you peace. We need it. And a whole lot of love with a sprinkle of soul. All right, everybody. So if you love this topic, let's grow this community. We share ideas here. Again, we want to nudge you, promote you to. We don't come here with the be all end all of truth. Truth is varied. We just want to get you talking, thinking, and taking some action in your life. All right, until next time. Peace and love.